now let's compare two fractions. Stop debugger. What I mean by that is as follows. If A is greater than B, then we want to say something about that. See out A is greater than B. Something like that. How do we do that? For cout, we need to include IOStream library. That. So we have error because we did not overload the greater than operator. So here we need to give a Boolean result operator greater than, then const fraction right. Const is the prototype of that. Then we are going to define that. So not just greater than, we are going to define all possible comparison, greater than equal to, less than, or less than equal to, and the like. And to do so, let's have some helper function. So helper function simply compares two fractions and then return a value, and based on the value we can say which one is greater. So in private, let's give a compare function with another fraction, something like this one. So based on the return value, if it's a positive, the current object is greater than the parameter. If it's negative, then current one is smaller than the parameter and the like. So compare function could be implemented as follows. Int compare const fraction right const. Let me clean the screen. So what you want to return is the difference after we normalize. So what I mean by that is as follows. If we have A over B and then C over D, then how do we know which one is greater? Then if we subtract, then if it's positive, this is greater. Negative, this is greater. 0, the same, and so on. So then if we do subtraction, what you get is denominator is B times D, and numerator is A times D minus C times B. So by looking up resulting numerator only, if it's a positive, this is the meaning. Negative, this is the comparison result. 0, then equal to. So based on that, we can give the comparison result. So what you want to return is a comparison is A times D minus C times B. So A times D means the numerator of a current object times D is a denominator of a parameter. So right denominator, and minus C is a numerator of a parameter times B is a denominator of a current object. So we just return the numerator portion of the subtraction result, and using this number we can tell which one is greater and so on. So we have a helper function for comparison is there. Then now we are ready to implement those all possible things. So let's keep adding greater than and greater than equal to, and less than equal to, and then less than, and finally equal to. So we have 5 possible comparisons. Then using compare helper function, we can implement all of those easily. So let's begin implement those comparison. So bool fraction operator less than, and const fraction right const is there, then what you want to return is a return compare with right is less than 0, then that's a less than comparison result. And let me copy those three lines, and then less than or equal to means if the compare result is less than or equal to 0. And let me copy those four lines, two function definitions together, and then we could give greater than if it's a greater than 0, and greater than if that's greater than or equal to 0. Then one more function equal to, let me copy those that function, and then equality is when return value is 0, then two fractions are the same. So based on that, we can test it. So first, let's test the greater than equal to part. So let me set the breakpoint here. Compile, start, debug. There, step over means A is greater than B. Is that right? So A is 2 over 3, B is 4 over 7. So if we subtract that, which is 2 times 7 minus 4 times 3, which is 14 and 12. So A is greater than that. So that works. Stop debugger. If I use, let's do many things here. So Boolean B is A greater than B, and B is A greater than equal to B, and B is A less than B, less than equal to B. B is actually I cannot use a B again. Let's use T. T is A equal to B. Like so, we are testing 5 comparison operators. Breakpoint there. Compile and start debug. So T is a fall, currently it's a step over, true, step over, still true, step over, now it's a false, that's a false as well, equal or not, that's a false. So that's testing for 5 comparison operators.